Before I start, I have a question for all of you. When was the last time you did something wrong? Was it a school summative? Was it forgetting homework? Was it angering your boss, or maybe not finishing a certain task? I know, it feels embarrassing, even disappointing. Failure attacks, embarrasses, and laughs us with, "Oh, you never get it right, stop trying, quit." But here's the twist. What if failure isn't the enemy? What if it's our master? What if every time you get it wrong, you're actually one step closer to getting it right? Remember this phrase, because I'll come back to it many times. It doesn't matter how many times you fall down, what's important is how many times you get back up. Let me tell you a personal story, and you'll see what I mean. Before I start, has anyone here gone skiing? Raise your hand if you have. Okay, there's a lot of you. About 3 years ago, my dad came in with big news. We were going on a skiing trip. I was very excited. Seeing snow for the first time, those huge mountains on the internet, and finally being able to ski. This was on one hand. On the other hand, I was very scared that I wouldn't be able to learn, not liking it, or even stop trying and quit. But I had to leave that aside, because the trip was already here. After landing in Colorado, I felt that time was going twice as fast. Suddenly, on the next day, I was about to put the skis on. While my dad was teaching me how to go backwards, I fell down in the snow and laughed at first, but then realized I was going to fall over 10 more times. I was about to give up, but out of nowhere, a 3-year-old, younger kids, and adults came skiing by. I was like, how could they do this? I fell over 10 times and I still couldn't even stand up. But this motivated me to keep trying and finally learn my basics and was ready for my first big downhill ski. Now that I look back at it, it's actually quite small, but a big step for the time. My past self would have his jaws on the floor, like boom, on the floor, knowing how much I've progressed over the years. From green trails to double black diamonds in just 3 years. This story was the foundation of my speech, and the phrase, "It doesn't matter how many times you fall down, what's important is how many times you get back up." I told this story because I want you to understand this isn't just motivational or a fancy slogan. Science and research are also on the team. A study at Caltech by neuron specialists showed that when experiencing failure or making a mistake, our brains and neurons fire stronger than normal. This shows growth in a scientific way and also shows that mistakes don't weaken us, but in fact make us stronger. Only if we let them. If we run away from challenges, we're closing the door on growth. But if we embrace and confront those challenges, we open the door to possibilities, infinite possibilities. Think about Thomas Edison. Yeah, big name. What if he had stopped trying after the first light bulb? If you're into sports, think Michael Jordan. What if he had listened to his coach about him quitting because he was going to cut him off the high school team? Big things might have never happened. One of the greatest inventions of all time, and one of the best basketball players ever. All of this takes us to the goal of the talk, the choice. You, me, everyone here is left with it. We can let mistakes define us, or we can choose for them to shape us. So the next time you stumble in a problem in life, I don't want you to say and shrink back, "I can't." Instead, add a tiny, impactful word, "yet." When I hear "yet," I hear possibilities. Yet is the word of growth. Yet is the word that bridges the gap between getting it wrong and getting it right. Another question for you is, what is your yet? In my case, my yet is, for example, not knowing a formula at math, but I'm still trying to memorize it and know how to do it. You might have seen mistakes as the villain of the story, but my experience, research on this topic, and this speech changed my entire perspective. And I want to share that with someone. I want to share it with you, with you, with you, with you, with all of you here. See them as your master, your teacher, or even your mentor. Because it doesn't matter how many times you get it wrong, what's important is how many times you get it right. And I want to close with you remembering this important phrase, and I want you to take it everywhere with you. It doesn't matter how many times you fall down, what's important is how many times you get back up. Thank you.